In 5:15, I'd like to call a special board of public works to order Monday, December 9th. Stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call has been taken. Look at a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Ritchie, seconded by Mr. Dorsey to adopt the agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public input. Public input, seeing none. We'll move on. Approve and recommend the council roadway design plan for Oshkosh Street for 2025 construction. Mr. Gursky?
Would anybody want me to go over the plan again, block by block? Or if you want, I will start with the questions that I received last week.
Questions are fine.
Okay. So number one question, Chad, could you please put on Google Maps the street view at Wolf River and Oshkosh?
1 second.
So there was a question on the crossing in this area. So we right now are working on designing one. It is possible to have the crossing happen at the intersection. Right now, the issue we're having is with the way this parking lot is set up, and the traffic having to come through here in order to utilize this parking. We have to make this curb mountable. And with that, it takes the elevation down. So when you're adding sidewalk, if you have this will be moved. If you're having a receiving area and some form of walkway to the lot, not having to deal with utility pole, keeping it at that 2% for ADA compliancy and having a smaller curb back to make it mountable is doable. We're just working with some cross sections right now and how it'll tie in here, but we will be able to have a crossing at the intersection across the here.
Very nice, thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions on that? Okay, and the other question was if we do not stick to standards, if the $2,021,812.50 would be at jeopardy, and the answer is yes. So I looked up the LRIP SMA, which is the state and municipal agreement. On line 2, it says the construction of the improvement will be in accordance with the appropriate standards unless an exception to standards is granted by the state prior to construction. The entire cost of the improvement not constructed to standard will be the responsibility of the municipality unless such exception is granted. So with it saying exceptions, I reached out to the local coordinator at the North Central office through the DOT. Exceptions to standards would be like environmental. If there was a large environmental issue where it would create a hazard, you could design outside of standards to prevent that environmental issue from occurring. Another is cost. If, let's say, we wanted to make this outside of right of way, and you're trying to acquire land in order to do that because you have to reach the standard. If that cost is way above what the budget the city expected, then you could design out of that You'd still have to run it through their office, which, once approved, then, his boss would also have to approve it. So you draw up a documentation stating XYZ happened, we need this exception to standards because of, everything noted. Another thing would be like, let's say you're dealing with a lot of excess of material or something, and you're like, this is gonna cost $250,000 to get rid of all this extra material. You could say, well, we'll design this cross slope with an extra 0.5%, let's say 3.5%. You could lose 3/4 of that material and save a lot of money and stay within budget. You could submit something like that, and I mean, it would still have to be approved, and not saying that they would even approve that. But those are the things they're looking at as far as exceptions to standards. In the SMA, it lists the need for improvement, which of course we all know is the severe asphalt deterioration and the significant aging of that street. Other work to be performed: driveway joints, reconstruct intersections, sanitary sewer, sidewalk. Sanitary sewer has an asterisk, as well as street signs and water mains, because those are non-qualifying items. Sidewalk, storm sewer, widening of roadway, and binder mat. These are all terms that are in the SMA for this project. On that, I will look for questions on anything to do with that.
So the long and short of it is, if we don't widen the road 2 feet, we lose the grant.
You would lose the portion of money that it would cost if you don't center the roadway and put that intersection on. Instead of having that large offset and widening those 2 blocks to that 32-foot minimum, that whole portion would be unfunded for the reconstruction.
Any further discussion?
The only thing I can say is thank you for checking on that for us and making sure that we are not jeopardizing that grant.
Any further discussion? If not, I guess I'm looking for a motion.
So to do it as we had planned.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Barrington, seconded by Mr. Dorsey, to approve and recommend the council roadway design plan for Oshkosh Street for the 2025 construction. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I would also like to thank you, Mr. Garsky, and also, we don't have no public here today, but I'm sure some are listening and appreciate, I think we all appreciate the interaction and
Absolutely.
just so they know that we truly do care and we don't rubber stamp everything. And there's a lot of thought and especially by you, because I heard a lot of good comments from residents on you. Just want to pass it forward.
Thank you.
And I think it has to be noted that, I mean, there's the public comment with their needs and their opinions on how to design a roadway, but then there's also many other things that go into the evaluation process that you have to guys go through. So, it's not that the city's not listening to the residents. You're evaluating all the points to make that decision. So that needs to be noted, that it's, there's more than going on with just, instead of just the residents, providing their input. So.
And then I'd like also to note that we still are gonna look into a few of them issues like with speed reasons and possible changing that school zone area. That's still on the docket. It has nothing to do with this plan itself.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is just the layout.
Yep. Any further discussion? If not, I'm looking for motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Barrington, seconded by Mr. Ritchie for adjournment. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?